Welcome back to Week 5 Play Action Fantasy Football. This is Jonathan here. We are going over running back starter sits this week. So looking here, we got Thursday Night Football. And by the way, actually, before I get into that, we got a new system going on. We're going to do green, yellow, and red for start, cautionary start, or sit. So just be mindful of that. That's what the yellow is this week. So starting here on Thursday, we got the Bears at Commanders. Looking at the running backs for the Bears, we have Khalil Herbert and Rashawn Johnson. Rashawn Johnson's going to be an automatic sit. Khalil Herbert, on the other hand, he's a cautionary start. He definitely has the potential to have a good game, but the Commanders do have a good defense, so I would definitely be cautious with that and maybe throw him in your flex if you need him, but maybe not as starting running back. Commanders running backs, we're looking at Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. Brian Robinson, easy start. He's going to put up points against the Bears, no question about it. Antonio Gibson, he's a cautionary start. We got him there at yellow. He could have a good day, but on the other hand, he might not put up anything more than 8 points. So be cautious with him, maybe as a flex if you need him. And, roll with that. Sunday, we have 9:30 a.m. Jacksonville at Bills. Running backs Etienne and Tank Bigsby for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Etienne's an easy start. He's going to have a good day against the Bills, and Bigsby isn't getting much of the load, so I would not want to start him in any league. The Bills, we're moving to James Cook and Latavius Murray. James Cook, easy start against the Jags. James Cook has been putting up numbers. He's been catching passes and getting the ball a lot. And Latavius Murray, on the other hand, not quite as much, but he does have some potential. So I would put him actually as a yellow cautionary start if you want to throw him maybe as your flex, just to feel it out. I don't think Murray is a bad idea. Now we're moving to 1 o'clock games. We have the Saints at Patriots. I love this one. We got Alvin Kamara back. He's definitely a start this week. And then Jones Jr. and Kendre Miller behind him. Not going to get many carries seeing that Kamara's back. Kamara does what he does. Everybody knows that. So he's easy start. Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson. He's going to be a cautionary start from this week. I usually like to start him, but the Saints have a very good defense. Ramondre Stevenson and the whole offense, Patriots offense, it's hard to have confidence in that. So I got to put Stevenson as a cautionary, maybe as a flex. And then Ezekiel Elliott, you don't even want playing. He's not going to be getting a lot of touches. And, if he does, he's not getting anything more than 5 fantasy points. So definitely want to sit him this week. So the next 1 o'clock game we have is the Titans at the Colts. Looking at the running backs here, we got David Henry and Tyjae Spears for the Titans. Henry, always an automatic start. You can't go against that guy. Tyjae Spears, I got to put him in a yellow. I usually would like to sit him, but he's been showing potential. And against the Colts, I think this could be a game where he has a little showcase game. So I would not be scared to put him in your flex spot, and he definitely could get you some points there. Now the Colts running backs, it's hard to say against the Titans defense. Zach Moss, he's very good, but I think he's going to be a cautionary start. You may not want to put him there at your running back 1 or 2, but definitely a good slot spot, or a flex spot, I'm sorry. But and then on the other hand, Trey Sermon, you're not going to have to worry about him at all. You're going to want to sit him. He's not going to have any effect on no game. So next one, we have the Ravens at the Steelers. Ravens running backs is kind of messy right now. They're kind of splitting carries, all that kind of stuff. But Gus Edwards, he's sticking out there, and I think he's a good start this week against the Steelers defense. So start Gus Edwards, and then as far as Melvin Gordon and Justice Hill go, they're going to be kind of mixing carries. So Melvin Gordon looked like last week he was getting more carries, but Justice Hill obviously is a lot younger, a little higher potential. So you never really know. I wouldn't want to start Melvin Gordon or Justice Hill, and definitely would ride with Gus Edwards. For the Steelers, Najee Harris, I've lost a lot of faith in him. I don't want to start him, and he would have to convince me otherwise for me to start him in any sort of league. Jaylen Warren, on the other hand, he's got some upside. I think he's a cautionary start. If you want to throw him there at your flex spot, he definitely could get you some points there. Panthers at the Lions. Running backs for the Panthers, Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard. I don't want to start either of them. I think you're going to sit both of them. The Lions' defense is very good. Chuba Hubbard isn't going up to his potential like he was before. Miles Sanders, he also has been playing good. He's playing good. However, I think against Lions defense, he's going to struggle. So I'm going to sit Miles Sanders. And then as far as the Lions running backs, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, both animals. David Montgomery showed us last week exactly what he can do. I think David Montgomery is a for sure start this week against Panthers defense, who's very struggling. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's a cautionary start, but if you need him at your running back too, you might take him there, but definitely a good, solid flex position right there with Jahmyr Gibbs. Definitely going to get you points against the Panthers. Next, we got Texans at the Falcons. Running backs, Dameon Pearson, Singletary for the Texans. Dameon Pierce is going to be a cautionary start this week. Falcons have one of the best run defenses in the league. And Dameon Pierce is honestly one of the better running backs in the league. So that's why I put him there at cautionary. You might want to do another running back too, or maybe a flex spot with him. But either way, he's bound to get some sort of points. On the other hand, Devin Singletary, I'm not looking for him to get much of any points at all. Definitely want to sit him in this game. Bijan Robinson for the Falcons, you definitely want to get that man in there. He's been putting up points. He's really all the Falcons have. So he's a for sure start this week against the Texans defense. And the same thing with Tyler Algier. I shouldn't say the same thing, but cautionary start, I guess, with Algier. Definitely not a bad RB2 or flex position. He's going to get points. It's just a matter of how much. Next up, we have the Giants at the Dolphins. Running backs, Saquon Barkley and Matt Breida. Saquon Barkley, he's questionable. We don't know exactly what's going on with him. If he is playing against the Dolphins, you obviously want to start him. He's a monster. He always does what he does. But also, if he does not play, Matt Breida, you're gonna sit him if Barkley's playing, obviously. But if Barkley isn't playing, Matt Breida is gonna be a cautionary start. He definitely is gonna get points for sure, a good 5 to 12 points. But I wouldn't expect anything too crazy from him against the Dolphins. Now, Mostert and Devon Achane for the Dolphins, they are gonna be putting up points. I can tell you that. Not just what they showed from the 70-point game, but they've both really shown that they can actually put up points. Obviously, Mostert more than Achane, but they're definitely going to be both starts this week. They're definitely going to be getting points against the Giants. And moving on to the next, we got our 4 o'clock games. We got the first one is Bengals at Cardinals. I'm going to take Joe Mixon as a start. I know he's had a rough year compared to what we were expecting, I guess. But with Joe Burrow struggling, Cardinals defense struggling a little bit, I think this is the week for Joe Mixon to go off. And I think he's definitely getting a solid, 15 points at least. And then the backups for the Bengals, Travion Williams and Chase Brown, they're obviously not going to be seeing the ball quite much. Cardinals running backs, we're looking at James Conner and Keontae Ingram. Keontae Ingram is actually questionable. I think even if he does come play a little bit with his injury, I don't think that you should be starting him either way. But James Conner is definitely a start. Definitely get James Conner in there. He's going to get points. And next 4 o'clock game we got is Eagles at the Rams. For the Eagles, we're looking at DeAndre Swift and Kenneth Gainwell. DeAndre Swift, he's going to be a cautionary start in my books. I know he's been playing very well. I think he's the top 10 in the fantasy world running backs. However, I do think the Rams have a good defense and that they're going to kind of slow down the Eagles' offense and especially DeAndre Swift. And with that being said, Kenneth Gainwell at that point, you don't want to start him in any sort of way. Now the Rams running backs, we're looking at Kyron Williams. And that's about it. I guess we could throw Ronnie Rivers in there. He is not going to be getting much points, obviously. If you even have him on your team, which I doubt you do, you're not going to want to play him. But Kyron Williams, I never really had a lot of faith in that guy. However, they don't have a lot of other options in running back. So Kyron Williams is definitely going to be getting points, and you definitely want to be starting him this week. Next up, we have the Jets at the Broncos. We're looking at Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook. Obviously, Breece Hall, he's looking very good. It's hard not to start him. You got to start him. No other choices about that. Dalvin Cook, on the other hand, he's a cautionary. I think the only reason he's a cautionary is because they're going up against the Denver Broncos, whose defense is just absolutely terrible. But Dalvin Cook against the Broncos can definitely put up some points, even with Aaron Rodgers out and Zach Wilson throwing the ball. So Dalvin Cook is a good flex spot this week. On the other hand, the Broncos is a mess at running back right now. Javonte Williams is banged up. We're not too sure if he's going to be playing. So either way, I would definitely sit him and Samaje Perine. You don't want to start either of them this week. It's pretty simple at that. The next 4 o'clock game we got here is the Chiefs at the Vikings. Pacheco here at running back and Jerick McKinnon. I'm going to go with a Pacheco start. He's been playing great. He's going to have another good game here against the Vikings. The Chiefs have been leaning on him a little bit more, so he's definitely going to be getting good fantasy points. For Jerick McKinnon, I don't see that happening. He's going to be a sit. He's not putting up much points at all. He's going to be a sit. Vikings running backs, we got Alexander Mattison. He's going to be a start this week. The Chiefs have some guys banged up. They do have a good defense, but I do see Alexander Mattison getting in the end zone this week finally. He hasn't gotten into the end zone yet, so I could see it happening this week for sure. But Cam Akers, he's a good backup, but he's not going to be getting a lot of touches here with the Vikings offense, so we're going to have to sit him this week. Next up is Cowboys at 49ers is our Sunday night game. Obviously, Tony Pollard, you got to start him. I don't care how good the 49ers defense is. You got to start him. Just like I'll jump to the 49ers and say McCaffrey. You have to start him. We're not going to spend time on that. You know to start him. On the other hand, Cowboys running backs, Rico Dowdle is questionable, and Deuce Vaughn are both going to be people you want to sit. I mean, if you look at it, Tony Pollard takes all those carries. They're not going to be getting much points at all. And then Elijah Mitchell on the 49ers side is questionable this week. I think he's pretty banged up with his injury, so either way you're going to want to sit Elijah Mitchell whether he plays or not. And last but not least, we have our Monday night game, Packers at the Raiders. We're looking at Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. These are two very questionable guys. I have them both in the yellow. They both can potentially have a good game, but I would not count on them. So they're definitely more of, flex positions and RB2 if you have to. But if you see any of these other guys that we mentioned that are definitely starts, you want to take them, and you could definitely feel confident in it. Now, the Raiders, Josh Jacobs, Zamir White. Josh Jacobs is an easy start. Packers defense is not looking good whatsoever, so you want to give it to Josh Jacobs. He's going to get points 100%. You want to start him. Zamir White, on the other hand, I would not start him. The Raiders aren't using him as much as a lot of us expected, but, they have Jacoby Myers back, Devontae Adams, so it's not that surprising. So sit Zamir White this week, and I think you'll be fine. And that will do it for our running back week 5 start sits. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Jonathan here again. Go like, follow, subscribe, and I will see you again with the tight end start sit.